what I want to say, though, is there was a wonderful, this is the things we talked about regarding this. So we talked about, first of all, you do what? Observe. Then secondly, you interpret. What's the third thing you do? Application, right? You apply, right? So you observe, that's O. Then you interpret, that's I. And then you apply, OIA. We give Ms. Gina credit for that. Thank you for that acronym. Wonderful, OIA. Okay, say it with me, please, all three. One of them, what? What does it stand for? Observe, interpret, and apply. So what I want to do is do some live interpreting drills. And so I'm taking to 1 Samuel chapter 16. Since you've already read this and you know the Bible so well, I can ask you any question and you're just like, Pastor Rick, I got it. Just bring it on. Don't even hesitate. You ready? So we're going to do a little bit of interpreting tonight. And so if you're home watching, get your pencil and paper ready. And we also have a crew of people who are watching you online. So I'm going to read some of what they say online and some of what they say in the building. And there are hundreds of you watching online. So wherever you're watching from North Carolina up there, Glenn, I see you up there in North Carolina, sir. Hello. Tell your wife hello. And be really nice when you say it, okay? Leona's great people. She's kind and gentle. And so make sure you say hello for me. And then, Deborah, good to see you. All the way down in Florida, all the way in Texas, California, wherever you're watching. It's cool to have you around. 1 Samuel chapter 16. Let's get to it. Willie, if you're watching too, I don't see Willie on there. He may be watching. I don't know. Willie's up there too in Fayetteville. So, hey, Willie too. All right, and your wife. Okay, is that enough? Say hello, everybody. How about that? Come on. Okay, that's good. Everybody already told you guys hello, all right? All right, here we go. The Lord said to Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 16. Let's see what we can observe. We're observing. We're trying to see. We're studying the life of David, and we're going to learn some things about him, and you're going to tell me what you observed. Number one, the Lord said to Samuel, 1 Samuel 16, how long will you mourn for Saul since I have rejected him as king over Israel? I have told the guy, no, it's over. That's it. How long are you going to mourn? What do you learn from that? What do you observe? What do you observe? What's to observe in that? What do you see? Who's talking? God's talking to who? Samuel. That's an observation. See? Ha! We're starting already, people. We're getting ready. No interpretations yet. Just what do we observe? And what is God saying to him? What is God saying to Samuel? How long are you going to keep on mourning because I have rejected Saul as king? What do you observe in that statement? What is that? What is he saying to him? Get over it. That's a powerful interpretation. You just went right to the bam. Get over it, right? So when you're looking at this and you're thinking, okay, this is an interesting conversation that God lets you see in, right? So what do you learn about God from this? There's a breaking point, right? There's a breaking point. Saul did so much, and we see it in chapter 15. He didn't obey God, didn't listen, had a lot of issues in his life. Now, God decides it's over. Now, here's what you learn. This is where now we're getting into interpretation, right? We observe, now we interpret. He's the God that can get tired. You can read the New Testament, talk about the love of God, the grace of God, but good Old Testament reading helps you. There is an end game. It gives Ricky Temple chance after chance after chance after chance after chance after chance, but there can come a moment when he says, there are no more chances. How long will you mourn for Saul? Wailing and crying, I'm sorry. I tried. I talked to them. I gave him chance after chance. I gave him a great opportunity, and he did not manage it well. God can give you opportunities. So what kind of sermon could you preach from this? How long do you have? Is this your last chance? He told you. You didn't listen. Here we are. All those are sermons you can preach from that one text. Observed it. Now we're coming to some interpretation, and now we see how it applies. And this is one of those moments when you go, okay, so that's how God works. Yes, it is. A lot of things you're seeing in our society today is that if we observe it honestly, God says, I'm not going to save you from that. I'm going to let you go through all that. You didn't believe me. I told you what happened. You didn't listen, so here we go. And there are moments in life when, as a parent, that's hard to do. That's hard to do as a leader. It's hard to draw lines and say no and say, you can't go any farther than this. This is the line, but it's a powerful, powerful observation. Let me keep reading for you. But Samuel said, how can I go? Saul hears about it, he'll kill me. Now watch what he says. Go back a little bit. I'm sorry, verse 1 again. The Lord said to Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, since I have rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I'm sending you, watch what he tells him, to Jesse of Bethlehem. Where is he going to send him? Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king. Okay, now, what do we learn from that? What do we observe? He's sending him someplace? What is he doing? What did he say? Okay. He specifically names the house for him to go to. God is specific. Sermon title, he knows who he wants. God had a plan for the son of Jesse. Didn't tell him which one. So I want you to notice, he rejects this person and hires that one. Corporate takeover. Right there in the spot. And he says it out loud to him, not to everybody. And it's a private conversation. Samuel's a little concerned, saying, now, hey, now if I go down there and say I'm going to anoint a new king, the king going to kill me. So there is a little bit of an awareness. Now notice how he realizes we have to do this, but we can't just overtly do it. And God understands that. And God doesn't intervene and says, no, I'm going to send some angels to protect you. He didn't do that. He made him work within the system that he lived in. Hear that? So watch what happens. Samuel said, how can I go? Saul hears it, he will kill me. The Lord said, take a heifer with you and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what to do. You are to anoint for me the one I indicate. Everybody say, covert mission. CIA right there. See? Right there, covert. God doesn't do everything in the open. There is a place for that, and that's a whole nother conversation when I talk to people that do covert work, that are involved in undercover work. There's a whole conversation, but that's not today, but that's interesting. Okay? Verse 4, Samuel did what the Lord said when he arrived at Bethlehem. The elder Samuel did what the Lord said. Samuel what? Did what the Lord, one more time, read it slow. What did Samuel do? He did what the Lord said. That's what he did. He did what the Lord said. Not what he wanted to do. He didn't do it on his own. He did what the Lord said, at least in this situation. But we do know, because we read ahead of the story, when it came to his children, he didn't. Obedient over here, disobedient over there. Here's what you're going to see. I said to you last night, David was growing stuff in the weeds behind him. What you see in David, Eli, Samuel, and David, you see the same trend. I'm obedient over here, but I'm disobedient over there. And you see the same thing in Solomon. Obedient over here, but disobedient over there. The question is, are you obedient over here, but disobedient over there? Right? Right here, you're fine. Over there, you're not. You're not cussing here, but you do cuss at work, right? Just saying, right? I'm just saying, right? You just got to make the point. You ain't got your lover on right now. You ain't got your look on, but, when you go to the other places, you get your look on. You get your look on, you know what I'm saying? So notice, read into that. But what I'm saying is, you notice that this is common. Keep reading with me. Samuel replied, verse 5, Samuel replied, yes, in peace I've come to sacrifice. Verse 4. Samuel did what the Lord said. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town trembled. When they met him, they asked, do you come in peace? Samuel replied, yes, in peace I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Consecrate yourselves and come to the sacrifice with me. Then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. When they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab. Who did he see? Eliab. This is important. Who did he see? Eliab. And thought, surely, good God, that's a good-looking boy. Surely the Lord's anointed stands before the Lord. But the Lord said to Samuel, read it slow, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. What do we observe? Raise your hand, commit your life. Come on. Talk to me. Raise your hand, commit your life. What are you saying to me? That wasn't the person the Lord chose. Okay, somebody else. What did you say? I'm going to repeat it for those of you watching at home. What else do you observe? I have rejected him. Yes. He based it upon how he looked. Yes. God had a specific objective, and it was not tied to just appearance. What's powerful is, looks good, but not good. Anybody ever dated anybody like that? Don't just look at the package. Look inside. See, when you think about that, and you look at that, and you think about what he's saying slowly, remember, observation, then interpretation, right? We've got to look at this and see. And this is a powerful way of teaching in story. There was no printing press. Printing press was coming around for 1,400 years, 1,000 years from now. So they had to just swim. Oh, longer than that, Jesus. Anyway, they had to swim. Yeah, longer than that. They had to swim through a whole lot to gain insight. And he says, I have rejected him. I don't want that boy. Then he makes a statement. What does he say? Look at this. What verse are we at? Verse what? What verse? Verse 6, 7. My eyes lost me there. All right, verse 7. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. One more time. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. Slow down. Read it slow. One more time. Read it out loud. Come on. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People, read it out loud. Come on. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. It's the heart. What's inside. Then Jesse called Abinadab and had him pass in front of Samuel, but Samuel said, the Lord has not chosen this one either. Can you imagine you walking by and he said, not him? Not him. It must feel pretty bad. I mean, yeah, all these boys passing by, my 7, 8 of them, and they nope, bop, nope, bop, nope. No, this is nobody. This is horrible. And so they get down to the very end. He said, do you have anybody else? Yeah, there's one, the youngest, verse 11. He's tending the sheep. Okay, pause for a minute. Special guest comes to the house, calls everybody in, and this is to anoint the person to be the king. Do you think that all the children should have been called in? But you're the only one that was left out. Think about this for a minute. What do you observe about this family? Say what? Youngest wasn't going to be enough. What? Talk to me. What? Favoritism? Hierarchy? So think about this. None of the brothers said, what about David? He had to ask them. He said, do you have any more children? Everybody says, yeah, we got one more. Where is he? Oh, we got him way in the field. He's out there tending the sheep. Why didn't somebody go get him? You ever been that person? You ever been David? David's out there in the sheep. David see everybody going in the house. Okay, I guess they doing something. But he didn't come in. He couldn't see them. My point is, he's left out. They have to send for him. They have to send for him. Here's what I want you to notice. Family weeds. Family weeds. Growing in the backyard. And you're going to see this in chapter 17 in a minute. It's problems growing. The oldest son, who he was going to choose first, you're going to see him again in a minute. But I want you to see this, and I want you to think about it. Don't just read the Bible. Think about what you're observing. Can you see it? Okay. When you read it slow, right? All right, watch this. So David comes in, verse 12. So he sent for him and had him brought in. He was glowing with health and when the Bible says this about you, it's true. He had a fine appearance, and he was handsome. When the Bible says you're handsome, you got to be good looking. Handsome. Features. Now, it didn't say he just handsome. It said he had handsome features. His eyes, ears, head, body. Good looking fella out in the field. Why y'all didn't call him? Why didn't any of the siblings speak up for him? Why did daddy have him out there? Why? Think about it for a second. Sometimes man won't choose you, but God has chosen you. Keep reading. The Lord said, time he walks in, rise and anoint him. This is the one. Now imagine for a moment his siblings standing there saying, really? He the one. And Samuel starts pouring oil on him, and all this starts happening. It's amazing. Turn to chapter 17. It gets to be more fascinating. So all of a sudden now you got all this going on. Well, chapter 16. Go to verse 14. This is more important. Chapter 16. Let's see what you see in this one. Chapter 16, verse 14. Now the Spirit of the Lord had departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. What do you observe in that? Chapter 16, verse 14. The Spirit of the Lord had departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. What does that mean? An evil spirit from the Lord. What does that mean? One of the tough texts in Scripture. Did God send an evil spirit on him? God hexed him? You think God cursed him? We talked about that generational curse. That's not what that means. Whenever the Jews were trying to describe something, they said, this had to come from God. And it's trying to describe what he saw. The word Ra, which is Ra, R-A-A-H, the word is used here for torment. Yeah, R-A-A-H, Ra. This word, when it says he was tormented, and there was this evil spirit tormented him. Here's a guy who is now what you would call depressed. That's how you would translate it. That's what the word literally means. They just were simply trying to find a way to describe it. You ever try to find the words to describe something? It's like God did something to him all of a sudden. He just snapped. Saul just snapped. He just tormented, and he's vexed. And so when this depression would come on, and that's what he was talking about, Saul's attendant said to him, see, now they're trying to describe it. We think it's an evil spirit from God. We think God did this to him. Because, God's rejected him, and he's in trouble with God and all this. And then it goes on, and it says, let our Lord command his servants here to search for someone who can play the lyre. He will play when the evil spirit, when that depression comes on him, from God, you will feel better. So they said, well, let's get somebody who can play some music, maybe to calm you down when you get depressed. Verse 17. Saul said to his descendants, find someone who plays well and bring him to me. Now, listen to this. This is important. Verse 18. One of his servants answered and said, I've seen a son of Jesse of Bethlehem who knows how to play the lyre. He can jam on that lyre. That boy can play that. He manages sheep. They be out there dancing with the sheep. It's amazing. Now, then he says this. Now, watch what it says about him. He is a brave man and a warrior. He speaks well and is fine-looking man. Even this guy talking about how good he looks. That's someone other men are complimenting how good he looks. What do we observe? Slow down. What do you see? All this. What do you see in this? What do you observe? Yes. Reputation. He's in the middle of nowhere playing his instruments, and people are listening. Said, who is that? Oh, that's David. He's jamming. He can jam. Look at the sheep move. The sheep even bobbing with him. I mean, he's got a reputation. Now, think about this for a minute. When nobody's looking, what do they see? When nobody's looking, what do they hear? When you're mad about that $5 that they have cheated you at the cash register, is your future husband in the next lane listening you cuss that lady out over that $5? I'm just curious. What is your reputation? I had a story somebody told me once. It said this pastor, when he come in the store, I won't say the store, but it's the big one. They said, all right, Pastor Trouble is on aisle 4. Because every time he came in there, he'd pitch a fit about something. And the whole staff knew who he was. Security would say, all right, he's on aisle 4 today. Keep your eyes on him. And it was always amazing how sometimes people don't realize this is what led to David's opportunity to go to Saul. He goes to Saul, he plays the lyre, and this is his introduction. And then he goes back home. But in chapter 17, guess what happens? Something amazing takes place. David is now on a journey. Turn to chapter 17, okay? And the Bible says something happens, and this is where you see your gift makes room for you. Say that slow, come on. Your gift makes room for you. Notice how God put the pieces in place. First Samuel comes to his house in private. Family leaves him out, but God still intervenes. Now notice they need a musician to calm Saul down, and his name comes up. Reputation, right? Now notice he is now going on an errand for his father because his brothers have gone to battle. And they've gone to battle with the goal of bringing some food down to the troops that are out there fighting with the Philistines. So I'm going to read starting in chapter 17, verse 1. Now the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Socoh in Judah. They pitched tents at Ephes Dammim between Socoh and Azekah. Saul and the Israelites assembled and encamped in the valley of Elah and drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites another with the valley between them. I have been there. I have been there. I have rocks from this place. And it's like a big hill there, and you can look down, and Goliath would come down from the hill to fight with Goliath, and Goliath would be standing waiting for him coming down the hill. I can see it in my head. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. He was big, that's all I'm saying. Matter of fact, can I share my image, you guys? Show me my brother. Can I show you my Goliath? I got a picture of him. He was huge. He was huge. Hit the button. Here come Goliath. Here come Goliath. He's a big dude. There you go. Big dude. Kind of hazy looking dude. That's all good. But that's him. Big dude. Notice he's got a sling in his hand. Okay. All right. The slingshot. David was what they call a slinger. Can you say slinger? And they could hit you from way back. And it was a weapon of warfare. And there were whole groups of slingers. They had guys who shot arrows, and there were guys who were slingers. So David, I think you can take it down. David from Gath came out of the Philistines. His height was big, 6 cubits in span, big guy. And it goes on and says, Goliath, verse 8, stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? Are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come to me. And if he's able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us. Then the Philistines said, the day I defy the armies of Israel, give me a man, one man. Let us fight each other. On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. Where were they? Dismayed and terrified. Now David was the son of an Ephrathite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and in Saul's time he was very old, and Jesse's 3 oldest sons had followed Saul to war. The firstborn was Eliab. What was his name? Eliab. That's the guy he saw first. Right? Okay, you with me? Read it slow. The second was Abinadab. The third was Shammah. David was the youngest. David was the what? We believe he was a teenager. Some say 17. Okay? Young guy. The 3 oldest followed Saul, but David went back and forth from Saul to tend to his father's sheep in Bethlehem. So David would come to the seat of battle, and he'd go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, for 40 days, the Philistines came forward every morning and evening and took his stand. So this happened for how many days? 40 days. This is a long time, right? Nobody stood up yet for 40 days. Now Jesse said to his son David, take this ephah. Do I got an ephah? Show me my ephah. Picture my ephah. This is an ephah. Ephah is a measurement of wheat. There you go. That's an ephah. Big bag. full of wheat. Take some of that, David, down to the field for the soldiers. All right? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right. A roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread for your brothers, and hurried to their camp. Take along these 10 cheeses to the commander of the unit. Take the cheese to the leaders. See how your brothers are and bring back some assurance from them. Go and find out how the brothers are doing out there. Make sure nobody died or anything. All right, they are with Saul and all the men of Israel in the valley of Elah fighting against the Philistines. Early in the morning, David left the flock in the cave, care of his shepherd, loaded up and set out as Jesse had directed him. He reached the camp as the army was going out to its battle position, shouting the war cry. Israel and the Philistines were drawing up their lines facing each other. David left his things with the keeper of the supplies, ran to the battle lines, and asked his brothers how they were. Notice what he does first. He handles his business. He did what his daddy told him to do. Read it slow, see the feeling, okay? Get the feel of it. All right. When the Israelites, so it said at verse 23, as he was talking with them, Goliath the Philistine, champion from God, stepped out from his lines and shouted his usual defiance, and David heard it. Now this is interesting. David sat there and he listened, and what was amazing was David's response. You read the rest on your own. Basically, he said, who is this guy? And he calls him an uncircumcised Philistine. Now, here's what that means. He's out of covenant. Who is this unsaved person? That's what he's saying, basically. Who is this ungodly person? Who's this person who doesn't fear God, comes out here and threatens us? And all of you are running. It's astonishing to David. Now, here's what you need to see. And you can read the rest on your own in the chapter because you've probably already read it. David was more than they could see. Just because he was a teenager didn't mean he wasn't powerful. Just because he was a teenager didn't mean he had strength, and didn't mean he was not scary, he was not intimidated at all. As a matter of fact, David says, okay, I'll take him on. Now, I want to just pause for a minute. This is an important moment. Look at verse 25. Now the Israelites had been saying, do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel, and the king will grant great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt his family from taxes. Man, that's the tax part right there. That's good enough right there. There's no taxes. No taxes, get a wife, money. Oh, man. But ain't nobody took it. Nobody, no, man, I'll be dead. I'm not going out there. Forget that. All right. When Eliab, who's Eliab? Oldest brother, heard him speaking with the men, he burned with anger. Take me back to the weeds. What does this mean? What's happened? What do you see about this family? They didn't invite him, first of all. Now, all David asked was, who's this person? And he's speaking up. And look at his brother. Listen to what his brother said. This is important. Why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few sheep in the wilderness? Now, you didn't have to say few sheep. You just say, you sheep in the wilderness. Where are your sheep at? He goes further. I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch. You are nosy. This big brother talking to you. What do you observe? What do you see back here in the weeds? What's happening? What do you see? Jealousy. What else? Envy. Calls him conceited. Everybody else said he's handsome. You say he conceited. Everybody else celebrates it. Everybody else say he's brave and courageous. You and your little sheep. Notice what God said about him first. I have rejected him. Because he looked good too. He was tall and good looking and rejected. You can be tall, good looking, and rejected. Because it's not until the words of your mouth are spoken that we see what's in your heart. Slow it down. Look at the story of David. This is the family David grew up in. What's it like to grow up with people like this? When Daddy said, go take them some food, I ain't taking him to eat for nothing. Take him some food. What? You know how that boy talked to me? You know, now for some people, when this happens, it shuts you right down. Right? Shuts you right down. Watch what happens. About to take our break to almost break time. Now watch this. Verse 29. I'm going to take a break after I say this one word. Now what have I done, said David? Can I even speak? What does next verse say? Verse 30. He then what? Turned away to someone else and brought up the same matter and said, you know what? Forget you. I'm going to take a break, 7 minutes right there. Think about that for a second. How do you handle people when they do you wrong? Do you allow yourself to be overwhelmed by them? Or do you know how to turn and keep on moving? We got a 7-minute break. Y'all take one, 7 minutes. We're going to come right back. Talk to your neighbor about what you've heard so far, what you've observed so far. Then we're going to jump on the second chapter 18. I got more to tell you. Stay right there. 7 minutes. It starts now. Seconds, people. Those of you that are watching online, I see comments. Larry Newton. Hey, dude. Hey, my brother. I see you commenting out there. Talking about deep. Miss Bishop, tell me what they're saying out there online, please.
Okay, Pastor, we have some great comments online regarding the first portion of the study. And one individual says, as a former grudge holder, I'm developing the virtue of navigating my emotions so they do not overcome my moral sensibilities.
Good.
It's good. And we have another. David wasn't moved by what the crowd thought. Mm-hmm. And we have another individual, killed them with kindness. Mm-hmm. And another individual on forgiveness. I would forgive them, but not allow myself to become subject to the same experience again. And I think I can say this person's name. We love Sister Nelson. He said his brothers misjudged him. He didn't really know his brother. You can live with a person and not know them. Mm-hmm. It's pretty awesome.
It's good.
Larry, that's all we have so far.
Yeah. Larry said, I know Larry. Larry said we have to be careful not to become the judge of people even if you know their intentions.
Yes.
Good stuff. Beautiful jazz. Who is the artist? Who is the artist? I don't know who was playing. Charles, who were you playing just now? We don't know. But it's good. We find out, we'll let you know. How about that? All right. Don't allow man's opinion to hinder you from getting all God has for you. The battle was the Lord's, and so David wasn't worried or scared. Good stuff. Well, let me move on. A lot of comments online. Thank you for all that you've written in online. But let me just get on and say this. So David turns. He ends up fighting Goliath. He wins. And I like this whole dialogue between him and Saul about once David is told that he's going to go fight, he agrees to go fight Goliath. There is this doubt about his life and his ability. But in chapter 17, he talks about it was this great exchange where Saul said to him, basically, here, go out there, but put this armor on. And he tried to tell him how to fight, tells him what to do. And David stops and says, basically, I can't wear this. I want to go fight Goliath for you, but I can't fight him the way you fight him. So he gets the sling. He puts the sword down, and he gets his sling, and he goes out and he slings, and he wins the battle. Fighting in your own armor is one of the greatest disciplines you'll ever learn. Won't you repeat this with me, please? Say, I am who I am. And God knows who I am. Say it again. Come on. Say, I am who I am. And God knows who I am. And he's okay with it. So after David wins the battle, chapter 18, go to chapter 18 for a minute. After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in his spirit with David. This is his son, Saul's son. And he loved him as himself. From that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home. New house after he fights Goliath, new beginning, imagine the life. Now you got to watch, all the brothers are watching this. All of David's brothers watched him surpass them. What's it like when someone in your family surpasses you? Someone in your group. They're not even heard about anymore. They're basically forgotten about, pretty much. You will hear in a minute about his sister. He had two sisters. And the sister you're going to hear about is, which mentioned yesterday, with Zeruiah, who was David's sister, which was an amazing woman, and his three nephews, which were quite special guys. There were three nephews that he had, and the nephews were off the chain amazing. They were aggressive, the sons of Zeruiah, which we'll hear about in just a minute. So in chapter 18, Saul takes David in. David becomes part of the family. And then, as you see, it migrates into where Saul gets mad with David because of the song. David was over the men of war. They make the song about David, and then David's cast out and chased for almost 10 years. So there's this incredible transition that happens. And then we're going to migrate now over to one final area I want to talk about, is I want to talk about the sons of Zeruiah. David has three nephews. And this is a new piece of information that I was not really aware of. I don't know why we never connected this in my research before. But Joab had 3 sons. Now, he had 2 sisters. One name was Zeruiah, Zeriah, Zeruiah. And she had a son named Joab, Abishai, and Ashel. Say Joab, Abishai, and Ashel. Aziel was a guy who ran real fast. He was a real fast guy, could run real quick. And he got killed in a battle with Abner, one of Saul's generals. And if you remember, we talked about yesterday, Ishbosheth, which was the son of Saul, had Abner who worked with him. And Ishbosheth, when Abner was in battle, the son, Aziel, chased after him. And he kept telling him, don't chase me, stop chasing me. And he kept trying to catch him. And he knew who he was. And he was trying not to kill him. And so he was David's nephew. Well, so he took his spear and slung it behind him and killed him. Well, Joab, the older brother, is furious. Later on, Joab's going to kill Abner for this. You're going to see, if you read through it, a whole lot of killing. Killing. A lot of murder going on. Abishai of the 3 is the only one who lives to be an old man. Joab is killed because of what he did. Matter of fact, Solomon had him killed. Because later on in life, David when he got ready to die, he told Solomon, please take care and bring judgment upon Joab, his own nephew, because he said he unfairly killed Abner. Abner came in peace to surrender. Abner came to say, okay, look, I know I was on the wrong side of the fence with Saul, or with Ishbosheth, which was Saul's son. He said, I was on the wrong side. I'm sorry. He came in peace, and Joab took him out and said, let's talk for a minute. And then he stabbed him and killed him. And David was furious. He said, the guy came in peace. That's not how we do business. The guy came over, said he was sorry. But again, something that was said over and over, I think it's 14 times, you sons of Zeruiah, what have I to do with you? My sister's kids, my sister's nephews, my nephews. But they were fiercely committed to David. But here's what you learn back here in the weeds. Family issues. Nephew's a little crazy. You see, you know what I'm saying? When you start zooming in close, you say, oh boy, the sister's kids. That's why he put up with them 14 times. And there were so many examples where they went, let me go kill him, David. David said, no, don't kill him. Don't kill. Stop, nephew. Son, you sons of Zeruiah. That was, imagine the king is saying, my sister's kids. Stop it. We're not killing everybody. No, don't kill him. He said he was sorry. No, then you killed him anyway? Okay, listen, you sons of Zeruiah. No, we're not doing that. One time a guy came out and was cussing David. And one of the sons says, can I go let me go strike him one time. Won't take but one pow. David says, we're not powering anybody today. You sons of Zeruiah, calm down. Do you have anybody in your life like that? Always ready to fight. Always ready. Start something, always. That's who David managed. Now, so you see in his own personal family, he's got issues back here. But also in his own family, his kids, he's got something growing. Now, I want to point out a couple of things to you. Remember we talked about 2 Samuel chapter 3 yesterday? He had more wives and concubines. We talked about that, right? In 1 Samuel 25, he married Ahinoam and Abigail. He had 2 wives, right? He had Michal. That was David. He got Michal for beating Goliath in chapter 17, right? So in chapter 18 of 1 Samuel, Saul said, you know what? Let him go ahead and marry Michal, because she'll be a hindrance to him. He thought Michal was was a bad gift. That's why he gave her to David. And then after that didn't work, he ended up turning against David, and David had to run. So David eventually married 2 more women, 1 Samuel 25. Then in 2 Samuel chapter 3, he marries again. But I want to get to 2 Samuel chapter 5. because what I want you to see is he's going to do something else that's interesting to me. He's going to marry more women. Now, this is an interesting trend because notice that romance becomes the tool of destruction. For some of you, that is what's going to get you. It ain't going to be the devil. It's not going to be the devil. You want to make it the devil. You want to blame the devil. But it's your desire to have somebody which is more important to you than obeying God. And so because you got to have somebody, you will compromise your values. And in 2 Samuel, turn there, chapter 5, verse 3, there is going to be this incredible thing. Now, you've read, all this is stuff we reviewed before, but we're in 2 Samuel chapter 5. Let me start at verse 1. All the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron and said, we are your own flesh and blood. In the past, while Saul was king over us, you were the one who led Israel on the military campaigns. And the Lord said to you, you will shepherd my people, Israel, and you will become the ruler. When all the elders of Israel had come to King David at Hebron, the king made a covenant with them in Hebron before the Lord, and they anointed David king over all Israel. David was how old? 30 years old when he became king. He reigned 40 years. Now think about this. He's got all this going on. He's got all these wonderful things happening, and he's defeating people. He's defending folks. He's doing all kinds of things. But slowly, there's this incredible moment when it says David, verse 13, David took more wives. Verse 13, David took more concubines and wives. In Jerusalem, more sons and daughters were born to him. Think about this. And then he starts to name them. Got all these folks. So now you already had a bunch of them. Now you got a bunch more. And you got concubines. Now, maybe you don't know what a concubine is, but a concubine was not like a half wife, sort of, right? Right? Sort of like, I don't know what they said. What they say? They said side. Okay, we're not going to say that. No, that's not what that was. A side. He said a side piece. This person over here we're praying for. That is not what that means. That's not what that means. What that means is this was somebody who had some rights, right? But she wasn't a wife. She didn't have all the benefits of a wife. So you have this accumulation of women. Some of it's designed to make peace because you marry your daddy, we don't have to fight, right? So some of it, even with Solomon, that's why Solomon ended up with 700 wives and 300 concubines. But I want you to notice how we're out of control. And this is not God's plan. But God lets you grow from where you are, not from where you should be. Now, what's interesting is, what does all of this do long term? Well, it causes a lot of problems. And I want to stop there for a minute because I want to make sure you have time to ask me questions. But I want to jump ahead for a minute to chapter 12. Can I do a 2 Samuel chapter 12? I'm going to jump way ahead. I'll pick up some loose ends later, but I want to jump because to me you don't see this really go to chapter 11 first. In 2 Samuel chapter 11, you see how all this that's been growing in the weeds in the back starts to manifest itself. And all you have to do is hang around the family long enough and it will all come out, right? Because remember, he's modeling and training. Say those two things. He's modeling and training his kids. His brothers and all those, they're out of the picture right now, right? Okay. His daughters, nephews, all that's kind of out of the picture right now, for now in this conversation. But back here, what have your kids been seeing? Daddy's never home. Daddy killing a bunch of people. What's going on? What's going on? Why? And what kind of people are you developing? What kind of values are you developing? Back here. See. Chapter 11. In the spring, at the time when kings go off to war, David sent Joab with the king's men and the whole Israelite army. And they destroyed the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah, but David remained in Jerusalem. Okay, it was a season when kings normally go to war, but David took a break. Everybody deserves a break. But you got to be careful when you break. You have to make sure you're in the right place in your head. Watch what happens. One evening, David got up from his bed, walked around on the roof of the palace, and from the roof he saw a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful. Pause. Bored, nothing to do. He got how many wives? 20. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch the tag, I can call up number 12, call up number 4. He had a lot of people he could have called up if he had an urge or something, but he didn't do that. He saw forbidden fruit. He saw something that wasn't his. He saw something he wanted. And what's amazing is he is emotionally and mentally checked out. He saw her. She's bathing. Now, is it her fault? You think you're in a private place on the top of your roof someplace, potentially, it was tradition, for people doing their bathing, and they're depending upon the time of the month, and she's, some say that was her time of the month, that she was purifying herself, and she was, and there's a whole lot in that, which we don't have to dive into, but the woman was very beautiful. David saw her, and David said, someone sent someone, to find out about her. Didn't name the person. I don't know who this someone is. Say it again. Someone. Say it again, come on. Someone. To find out about her. The man came back and said, she is Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam. Say his name. Eliam. And the wife of Uriah. Say Uriah. The Hittite. Pause there. Now, this is what's often missed in the story of David. Eliam was his staff counselor. Eliam was the grandfather of Bathsheba, her granddaddy. Whoever came back to David said, hey, David, you know that's Eliam's granddaughter. You know the guy who works for you, who gives you advice? This family, David. If that don't get your attention, this is Uriah's wife. Soldier work for you. Special forces do. Out there on the front lines. To whoever this guy was, he was trying to sound the alarm. This is not David a minor betrayal. This is to the bone, David. He saw it in his eyes. He knew David, King David. Let me tell you who this is. This is the guy's granddaughter that comes in and gives you counsel. This is the guy's this is grandbaby. He sent for her, had sex with her. She gets pregnant, sends back word. David falls on his knees and says, God, I'm sorry. No, he doesn't. Tried to cover it up. He says to Joab, send me Uriah from the front lines. Uriah said, King want to see me? So Joab says, take this message. He goes to the king. And the king says, hey, boy, how you going, man? How you going out there? Give me an update on the front lines of the fight. What's happening out there, boy? I bet we chopping them up, right? Yeah, we chopping them up. Yeah, well, yeah, okay. And he said, verse 6, so David sent this word to Joab, send me Uriah the Hittite, and Joab sent to David. When Uriah came to David, asked him how Joab was, how was the soldiers were, and how was the war going. David said to Uriah, go to your house and wash your feet, boy. I'll give you a little break. Go down there. Ain't no DNA test these days. Ain't nobody gonna know. But Uriah slept at the entrance of the palace with the master's servants and did not go to the house. He said, I'm not going to do that. So David was told Uriah, in verse 10, did not go home. So he said to Uriah, haven't you just come from a military campaign? Why don't you go home, boy? Uriah said to David, read it slow, the ark and Israel and Judah are staying in tents. And my commander, Joab, and my Lord's men are camped in the open country. How could I go to my house and eat and drink and make love to my wife? As surely as you live, I will not do such a thing. Some of you say he was real special. What do you observe? Dedicated. Loyal. Ready? Sermon. Just because you're loyal doesn't mean everybody is. Pause. All that he's doing right now is going to be seen by his children. All this is going to be known. It gets uglier. In the morning, David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it with Uriah. Who did he send the letter with? In it he wrote these words, put Uriah out in front where the fighting is fiercest, then withdraw from him so he will be struck down and die. So when Joab had the city under siege, he put Uriah at a place where he knew the strongest defenders were. When the men of the city came out and fought against Joab, some of the men in David's army fell. Moreover, Uriah the Hittite died. Joab sent David a full account of the battle, and he instructed the messenger, when you have finished giving the king this account of the battle, the king's anger may flare up, and he may ask you, why did you go so close to the city to fight? Didn't you know they would shoot arrows from the wall who killed Abimelech and so on? In other words, a guy named Abimelech died this way. He said, didn't a woman drop an upper millstone from the wall? So he's telling him, why did you do that, knowing these examples of how getting close to the wall gets you killed? A woman just dropped the whole thing down and killed one of the soldiers years ago. And then so he's furious. He said, but make sure you tell him that Uriah's dead too. Oh, okay. All this was done to kill one man, to cover your sin. Why did you go so close to the wall? If he asked you, then say to him, moreover, your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead. Nephew covered for his uncle. The weeds. 1 year goes by. 1 year goes by. How long? 1 year. Chapter 12. Then the Lord sent Nathan to David. I'm sorry. Go back to verse, I'm skipping something. Verse 26. When Uriah's wife heard that her husband, verse 26 of chapter 11, her husband was dead, she mourned for him. After the time of mourning was over, David brought her to his house, and she became his wife and bore him a son. What is that like for her? But look at this. This is important. But the thing, read this out loud, come on. But the thing David had done displeased the Lord. Back here, the kids are watching. Up there, God's watching. One more time. Back here, kids watching. Up there, God's watching. Chapter 12, verse 1. The Lord sent Nathan to David. When he came to him, he said, there were two men in the city, certain town, one rich and the other poor. The rich man had a very large number of sheep and cattle. The rich man had a lot, but the poor man had nothing except, what did he have? One little ewe lamb. Now, read it slow. What did he do with this ewe lamb? He brought it up. He raised it up. Right? And it grew up with him and his children, and he shared his food, drank from his cup, and he even slept in his arms. It was like a daughter to him. Pause for a second. What do you observe? This is describing who? He's describing Bathsheba and Uriah's relationship. You'll see in a minute. Look at verse 4. Now a traveler came to the rich man, but the rich man refrained from taking one of his own sheep or cattle to prepare a meal for the travelers who came to him. Instead, he took the ewe lamb that belonged to the poor man, and prepared it for the one who had come to him. David burned with anger against this man and said to Nathan, "As surely as the Lord lives, the man who did this must die." Boy, he's extreme, isn't he? "He must pay for the lamb 4 times over because he did such a thing and had no" what? Pity. Who's he talking about? Describe, what do you observe in the story? Nathan is painting a picture. Describe for me what you see in the life of Bathsheba and Uriah. What was their relationship like? They were long-term lovers. Knew her from a youth. Do you see that? And he took care of her. Did they have a close relationship? Does it sound really powerful? Right? Who's the rich man who came and took it? David, right? Now, what are you observing here? What is God doing? He gave him a year. 1 year. Year later, what happens? What's happening now? What? Talk loud. Let me hear what he's doing. He's coming under judgment. But notice with me how God always gives you a time to see yourself, to repent, to change. Here's a question. Are you in that time right now? See, I want you to notice. See, this is where you play both sides of the fence. But now, Nathan comes. David stands up. He's angry. These words are some of the most powerful words in the Bible, verse 7. Then Nathan said to David, "You are the man." Now, everything done back here now is all in open. The Bible says everything done in secret will come to the light. What do you learn from this story that can be applied today? Think about it for a minute. I don't worry about the politics. I don't worry about what's unjust, and eventually it all comes to the light. Eventually, what's unfair, everybody's going to know. Shock waves go throughout the nation. His children find out. All the soldiers find out. Everybody knows about it. Everything goes off the rails after chapter 12 in 2 Samuel for David. He never is the same. He never does this again. But listen carefully. Some things you do can change the whole trajectory of your life. Now, jump to chapter 13. He repents, says he's sorry, does a great job of it, but I want you to go to chapter 13. In the course of time, Amnon, the son of David, fell in love with Tamar, the beautiful sister of Absalom, son of David. Now, Amnon is the oldest, and he falls, quote, in love with his sister. I don't want to read the whole story. He takes advantage of her. Absalom hears about it and said, "What'd he do to you?" Absalom has a party, invites him to the party, and he gets some men to kill him in front of his family at the family party. Now, all the mess that was growing back here is now brought to light. What are you growing back here? Your son assaults your daughter. You do nothing about it. Then your other son says, "Well, I'll take care of that," and he kills your son. Then that same son, Absalom, tries to take over the kingdom. And what you will see in our next study, when we come back, is how David just could not deal with what he created back here. The question is, can you? The question is, how powerful it is that a man with all these credentials could end up in chapter 13. And then if we read further in our next study, we'll talk about his son Absalom and his inability to confront his children. We saw it in Eli. We saw it in Samuel. Now we're seeing it in David. The same trait. Good men said they were sorry, repented, but repentance doesn't always change your consequences. Now, I want to stop here. I'm going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to take 3 of yours a minute. I'm going to take 3 minutes from you. Tell me what this leaves you with today. I'm going to stop now. We're done for today. How has this helped you? Talk to me. Type it in the chat. How has this helped you? What spoke to you the most through all of that we've talked about? Just kind of give me some brief comments, please. What did this do for you today? How did you like this study? We got more to do. We're going to finish off 2 Samuel when we come back in our March study. March, in our March study, which will be, give me the date. Once I get the date, I'll tell you. But online and in the, raise your hand, whoever wants to comment. Right here? Okay, raise your hand. Okay, there you go, sir. There you go. Anybody else over here, real quick? All right, right here, sir. What do you want to say?
After reading the Bible slowly, I've discovered that our life is a book, so we're just writing books. So we need to make sure that stuff back there is clean.
Mm-hmm. All right, somebody else. Anybody online? Any comments?
Over here.
Yes, go ahead.
Just a reminder that God is watching and you don't have all day to get yourself together.
Okay, good. Somebody else? Yes, right here, Bobby. Raise your hand high so he can see you, Bobby. He can't see you. Right there behind you. Okay, go ahead.
Like the old folks used to tell you, what goes around, comes around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're going to see it again.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it sobering? Doesn't it leave you a little bit? How does it leave you? What do you feel? What are you feeling right now? Type it online. What are you feeling?
Couple of comments online.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Having that man take his own death letter to the general was diabolical. And another individual said, I never saw that the ewe lamb analogy before Uriah and Bathsheba. And another individual said, it made me ask myself, what am I teaching my children with my actions? Mm-hmm. And another comment is, money and power can change you.
I think it's your response to money and power. Money and power in and of itself doesn't change you. It's your response to it. And are you, I love a term, emotional maturity. I love that. Yes?
My mom used to say, you may get by, but you don't get away.
You may get by, you don't get away. Yes, right here. Come on. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, when we're blinded by lust, we often kill the very thing that we need. Uriah was basically a person of character that David really needed in his army and ended up killing him.
Yeah. It's amazing. You can kill something real good in your life. Yeah. Somebody else. Is this worth a study? Come on. All right. Thank you for your time. Let's all stand. Thank you for watching from home. We appreciate you being with us today. I look forward to our next study. We're gonna finish off 2 Samuel. I'm gonna come back and tie up some loose ends. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and then I'm gonna introduce you in our March study to the book of Romans. So if you want to jump ahead, if you've already finished 2 Samuel.